Hi everyone, my name is and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am full of joy to be communicating with you. I am so excited for this video. The past few weeks I've been away from making videos. I don't want to flood you with my excuses because I have a lot of them. And yeah, I don't want to flood you with my excuses. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram and Facebook for my daily inspirational quotes, because I'm more consistent with daily quotes. I normally post from Monday to Friday, so please follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Search for @DankyTalk. Please also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Danky Talk. Today I'm concluding on our series of the Great King Bible study, and I'm talking about his worship, King David's worship, how King David demonstrated his worship towards God. Yeah, and I've said this before on this channel, that worshiping God means to honor, respect, and love him deeply. King David was a worshiper. He worshipped God deeply. And the evidence of that is in the first book of Samuel, chapter 13, verse 14. When Prophet Samuel rebuked King David, he said, "But now your kingdom must end, for God has sought out a man after his own heart. The Lord has already appointed him to be the leader of his people, because you have not kept the Lord's commands." That is, I was reading from NLT version. So this is the evidence that King David loved God. He was after the heart of God. Yes, and that's the first lesson that we are learning about how he demonstrated his worship towards God. And the second thing that I want us to look at regarding how King David demonstrated his love towards God is that is repentance from sin, and repentance from sin. So King David committed sexual sin, and I later I'll talk about repentance. I will be reading from 2 Samuel chapter 11 from verse 1 to 5 regarding his sexual sin, and later I'll talk about repentance. In the spring, at the time when kings go off to war, David sent Joab with the king's men and the whole Israelite army. They destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but King David remained in Jerusalem. Let's pause there and think about this for a moment. Because I thought about this after reading this. I thought the question that I had was, why did King David remain in Jerusalem? The Bible clearly states that it was the time that kings go off to war, but King David did not go. Why? Why did he remain in Jerusalem? Verse 2, one evening, David got up from his bed and walked around on the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful, and David sent someone to find out about her. The man said, "She is Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, and the wife of Uriah the Hittite." Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him, and he slept with her. Now she was purifying herself from her monthly uncleanness. When she went back home, the woman conceived and sent word to David, saying, "I am pregnant. I am pregnant." What we can learn from this story is that being at the wrong time and being at the wrong place at the wrong time is a risk to sin. Is a risk to sin. Not doing what you're supposed to do at the time that you're supposed to do it is a risk to sin. Yeah, and and as we just read from this story, King David was supposed to be at war, but he did not go. He did not go, and while he did not go to war at the time that he was supposed to be at war, he was just walking around on the top of the roof, and he saw a naked woman. So he was at the wrong place and at the wrong time. Yes, that's what we can learn from this story, that there is a risk to sin, being at the wrong place and at the wrong time. And so King David committed the sin of adultery. The end of the story is that he ended up technically killing Bathsheba's husband and marrying Bathsheba. And that is all in chapter 11 of 2 Samuel. And the other thing that I want to look at is his repentance. God sent Prophet Nathan to rebuke David. Prophet Nathan did that in a form of a storytelling. And I love verse 13 of 2 Samuel chapter 12, when King David said, actually let me read it. Then David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. Nathan replied, the Lord has taken away your sin. You are not going to die. That is repentance. Repentance is when you take ownership of sin, the sin that you committed. Repentance is when you turn away from sin. I also love this meaning of repentance from lifehopeandtruth.com website. Repentance is a change of heart and a change of direction. It involves a determination to stop sinning and not to sin in the future. Yeah, so that is how King David demonstrated his worship, by his repentance from sin. The third demonstration of worship that we can learn from King David is that he was authentic and vulnerable to God. The question that I have for you is your worship to God authentic? Is your worship to God vulnerable? Think about that. The things that you share with your best friend, your friends, can you share them with God? And you might be saying, God knows my struggles, why should I share them with them? I was talking to this other woman who was struggling to be authentic to God, and I said to her, you know what, just share the things that you share with me to God. And she listened to me, she did that, and she came back to me and said, I no longer carry the burden that I used to carry. I feel lighter. I am no longer heavy. And that's the power of being authentic and vulnerable to God. King David knew how to express his emotions to God. He knew how to be vulnerable and authentic to God. And we see that in the book of Psalm chapter 6, verse 1 to 3 and verse 6 to 7, NLT version. O Lord, don't rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your rage. Have compassion on me, Lord, for I am weak. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in agony. I am sick at heart. Wow, I am sick at heart. How long, O Lord, until you restore me? I am in verse 6. I am worn out from sobbing. All night I flood my bed with weeping, drenching it with my tears. My vision is blurred by grief. My eyes are worn out because of all my enemies. Wow. That's someone who is authentic and vulnerable to God. Yeah. Being authentic and vulnerable deepens your relationship with God. You get to know God at a personal level. You get to experience the ministry of God at a very deeper level. Yeah. In conclusion, this is all that I wanted to share with you. As I said, this is the last video of the Great King Bible Study. I learned a lot about the life of King David. I hope that you also did, and thank you for watching the video. Until I see you again next time, goodbye. Take care of yourself and your family.